helping with the values and stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I also thought it's
Beautiful.
just it took so long, but
Yeah.
busy. But you took the time to come. This is my grandson. Do you?
What you call the persona?
Yeah. It's called scans. Let's look there.
So clear, right?
It's so clear. This is the
You can even see how you look like.
yeah. And this is now 7 weeks before they should be coming.
Hi, good morning. How's everyone doing? All right. Good morning. My name is Isak van Zyl. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the director of the Center for Postgraduate Studies. So I'm the guy in the background that solves all your problems. And so for those of you I haven't met, it's great to see you here today. I think we're all a bit, we're still defrosting, but at least thank you for coming out. So the recess is over, and we have, the Vice-Chancellor has had the initiative to organize this engagement with you as one of the important cohorts of our community, of our university community. So to open the session, I'd just like to invite our Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research to come up and open it up for us. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks, our Program Director, Prof. Anseyu. Good morning to our Vice-Chancellor of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Never say kaput in front of the VC. You're not going to get any favors from him. Professor Hay Swemmer, Professor Dina Berger, Dr. Jaiya, you postgraduate students, CPU staff members from SIP and other divisions, Mr. Maseko, I see you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege to welcome you to the Vice-Chancellor's postgraduate engagement. I think as Prof. Van Zyl has highlighted, these stakeholder engagements are of critical importance to us as an engaged institution. Our acclaimed strategy, Vision 2030, puts a particular emphasis on engagements focusing, amongst others, smart student engagement and learning experiences. Furthermore, focus area number 3 of our strategy clearly articulates our strategic intent for smart research, technology, innovation, and partnership agenda that is relevant and excellent in its knowledge production. But all these fancy strategies are not possible without an enabling environment for postgraduate students to succeed and strive. This will only make us a better institution if we make sure that we engage with our postgraduate students. Hence, the Vice-Chancellor has set up today for us to engage with you. It's part and parcel of an ongoing engagement, whether with the CPGS, Center for Postgraduate Studies, or our Research Directorate. We have indicated to all our stakeholders to double the number of postgraduate students at master's and doctoral levels by 2030 from our 2022 baseline. Unfortunately, if you look at our current postgraduate enrollment, we are currently not on track to achieve that without some specific interventions. Rather than admiring the problem, the Center of Postgraduate Studies under the leadership of Prof. Van Zyl and the Research Directorate under Prof. Gina Berger have set in motion a number of initiatives to address these burning platforms. As colleagues will see, as I go through some of the initiatives, it will highlight the fact that this hopefully will be reassurance, because I think there are a number of things that are worrying postgraduate students, and then we are not asleep at the wheel. We are aware of some of these challenges, and in some cases, some of the engagements you'll hear will be based on the fact that we know that some of the challenges that postgraduate students face here are not unique to CPUT, but they are of national importance. A key challenge which we acknowledge and which keeps us awake at night in terms of postgraduate success, and as I said, not unique to CPUT, as indicated by the Council on Higher Education doctoral report of 2021, is a question of postgraduate student supervision. The paucity of adequate and or appropriate supervisory capacity at South African universities has been cited as a key contributor to the high dropout rate and low completion or throughput rates of our postgraduate students. Recognizing this challenge, CPUT implemented a number of groundbreaking initiatives to address this and other matters highlighted in the CHE report. These include, but are not restricted to, the development and implementation of a CPUT framework to promote novel and progressive supervision and supervisor models, such as strategic cohort and group supervision models, over and above the tried, tested dietic model. The dietic model, most students, probably most postgraduate students are aware, is a classic supervisory model where you have one supervisor and one student, and it's still the predominant postgraduate supervision style in South Africa. However, the Vice-Chancellor had indicated that there have to be a need where we socialize other supervisory models, specifically group supervision, and in some cases, what CPUT is also looking at because of our interface with industry, where we can look at leveraging from industry expertise to ensure that there's co-supervision by industry co-supervisors. So this engagement speaks to the whole need that we know that postgraduate students will have supervisory challenges, and for a number of reasons. As I said, it's not unique to CPUT, but having said that, we are looking at highly innovative ways where we can really address the supervisory challenges of students as they get into CPUT and hopefully graduate in a minimum possible time. The other second intervention is the development and implementation of what is a one-of-a-kind program. Is called the Sisonke Supervisory Mentorship Program to fast-track the training of emerging academics and scholars. If we can fast-track the emerging scholars who have doctoral degrees and other things, they will have the capacity to supervise more students and hopefully alleviate the challenge that we have. Lastly, the other thing that we are doing in line with the Vice-Chancellor's vision is the purposeful recruitment of capable postdoctoral fellows, which has gone a long way in enhancing the postgraduate supervisory capacity at CPUT in the near to medium terms. The elephant in the living room, however, is the level of financial support for postgraduate students through bursaries and scholarships at CPUT. The current economic climate in South Africa, which saw a marked decline in government subsidy funding, as well as grant and philanthropic donations, has not helped matters. To that end, CPGS, working with our respective faculties, as well as referencing the provisions of the Council-approved RTI Blueprint for 2030, are exploring options for more funding incentives for our postgraduate students. Prof. Van Zyl and Prof. Berger and the faculties are looking at ways where we can meet our students halfway. If we really want to attract postgraduate students, we have to find incentives, and it's something that is top of our mind as we go forward. We're also working with the Department of Student Affairs, Procurement, Finance, and the Office of the Registrar to re-engineer our business processes to ensure efficiencies and integration, which we deem critical for our engagement with all our students, both at an undergraduate and postgraduate level. A key enabler in that regard is ICT and digital capabilities to enhance the postgraduate experience at CPUT, because key to that is how do you submit your reports, how do you submit MOUs with our supervisors, how do you submit your proposal. These are things that we really are moving forward to ensure that we are entering and leveraging from the digital age. There is no doubt that great progress at CPUT in terms of postgraduate education has been made since our days as two technicons, but more needs to be done. And I emphasize that we are in this journey with you as postgraduate students. My office, the Office of the Vice-Chancellor, CPGS, our Directorate for Research, is well aware of the challenges that you will face and continue to face until you graduate and beyond. So we are of the opinion that what we have to do is to make sure that if we want to have a marked increase in master's and doctoral graduates, as well as the research, innovation, and creative outputs that our students can hold their own in a competitive environment, we have to do more, and we have committed ourselves to do more. The notable increase in the red gowns at both our autumn and summer graduation is testament that we are moving in the right direction, and it's something that we have to celebrate, but we need to do even more than we have done. As I said, we have an abiding commitment to all our postgraduate students to ensure success for you as a student here and beyond. I wish you all the best in your current and future endeavors. Thank you. Bye, Danki, and Ngosi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pao. I really appreciate it. I would now like to invite Prof. Nhlapo, our Vice-Chancellor, for a keynote address. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Colleagues, dear students, I did not prepare a keynote, but I decided to share a couple of notes and thinking with you. But before I do, can I check how many master students we have here? By show of hands, masters? That's commendable. PhD student? Wow, that's commendable. I know that we cannot all be here, as some of the students are in the laboratories. They are busy with the experiment, but I want to appreciate a couple of us who are here today. Your presence is highly appreciated. I wanted us to share a couple of ideas together. And the motive is very simple. We are in the process of building this particular institution, and your role is very critical. Thank you very much, Program Director, Professor Isaac van Zyl, our honorable postgraduate students, executive management here present, especially Dr. David Powell, who is the head of the Center for Postgraduate Students, and then, of course, the Center for Postgraduate Studies, or CPGS as we call it, under Professor van Zyl and your indefatigable team, the Director of Research, Professor Dina Berger. I've seen Advancement Office here because we need that support. And I observe all the protocols. I always say, colleagues, that if I happen to have forgotten an individual, let's rely on the maxim of law, the principle of de minimis non curat lex, or in dubio pro reo. That is, if I have forgotten to mention your name, let's relegate that to insignificant. Postgraduate student, I salute you all on this auspicious occasion of the annual Vice-Chancellor's postgraduate engagement. What a special community you are. You are special in the sense that you are a community that you wanted to build. And as Dr. Pau said, we are still struggling to ramp up the numbers. So you are special. But the key question is, what is postgraduate engagement? Why postgraduate engagement matters? I can answer this from a number of perspectives as a Vice-Chancellor, as well as somebody in the executive of South African Human Resource Development Council. I've been in that particular body for more than 17 years, from its inception as GIPSA, as GISA, to the now Human Resource Development Council of South Africa, where we are looking at the skills pipeline of the country. I will come back to that particular point. But what is critical is that you are here because university is much more than classes and mayors. We can talk about mayors in physics, masters in physics, chemistry, botany, education, but universities is much more than that. And I think it's important that at least once the Office of the Vice-Chancellor must make an opportunity for us to engage about the future of this institution and the future of postgraduate education at this institution. I must also say that the postgraduate engagement can positively impact the student learning communities. It can promote a sense of belonging, and it can also increase positive peer communities. I always hear people talking about inclusivity, but I always say inclusivity alone is not enough. There is something that is called belonging, because the science of creating connection and bridging the divide is referred as belonging. It's very important that each and every postgraduate must feel that they belong to this institution. It is actually that philosophy of connectedness, of building a culture of belonging. When we started way back in 2009, when we started the Center for Postgraduate Studies, we also said we know that things are happening in faculties, and we're not taking anything away from those initiatives. But what is critical is that we wanted to build the institutional standard of excellence, the global standard across the institution, where students as peers can compare and talk about their experiences within their respective faculties. And as a consequence, we have this one-stop shop, which is your Center for Postgraduate Studies. And if I were to answer the same question now using the lens of Human Resource Development Council of South Africa, there are about 3 crises that are facing us. And the people who can address those particular crises are yourselves. There is a looming crisis around mathematics and statistics, a major one. This is looming large. If you come to universities, they are talking about learners at matric, they are taking mathematical literacy and all those ideas. But you come to universities, I can tell you can count with your fingers all the historically disadvantaged institutions combined, how many honors statistics, honors mathematics, master's statistics, PhD statistics, pure maths at doctoral level. You can count them with your fingers. So we are actually having a crisis. It looks like we'll not actually have pure statisticians. I'm not talking about elementary statistics. Calculate the regression, calculate standard deviation, the median, the mean. I'm talking about real statistics. We are really having a challenge. There is a looming crisis in that particular space. Associated with that is a looming teacher crisis in general, but in particular, the looming crisis in mathematics, in IT, in engineering, graphics, and design. We are actually having a challenge. And we are looking at solutions not anywhere else but from yourselves. Of course, there is also a looming health crisis. I can go on and on. So this advisory body, led and supervised by the Office of the Deputy President of South Africa, to inter alia increase productivity and human resource needed to successfully transform South Africa into a knowledge economy. We have been a resource-based economy, and we're actually undergoing that particular transition to knowledge-based economy. And it's very important that we build the appropriate skills pipeline. This board is also looking at improved national growth and development, and of course, the skills pipeline. I keep on referring to yourself because of one particular reason. As I always say, I quote, this institution, CPUT, does not belong to us who are here now. Rather, we are the guardians of the institution for the future generation. We will leave behind a legacy far beyond our time here at CPUT, close quote. It's very important that we have to deliver this particular message, because the next vice-chancellors, the next deans, the next executives, they are coming from nowhere but yourselves. And you are aware of the challenge your country is facing. And our role is simple, to say you have to keep at it because this country needs you more than before. There are also harsh realities that we are facing as an institution. And I wanted to superimpose these harsh realities against our aspirations. Currently, we are having about 27% of our staff with PhDs. That's why I was asking deliberately, how many of us here are PhD candidates? You can see we still have a long way to go if we are to meet the aspiration of the National Development Plan. We are doing well when it comes to pass rates at undergraduate level, but the number of postgraduates, that community that I said is special, is still very low. We are not even yet at 7%. I think we're talking about 3,000, 2,000 plus. So that's what we're talking about. That number, in terms of our aspiration, is very low. In terms of where we wanted to go as an institution, is very low. We understand some of you are first generation in the family. After finishing your undergraduate, you have to find a way to work and support your siblings. But it's very important that we have to talk about how we can actually keep our numbers at postgraduate level. Because our aspirations are audacious. In the recent past, I've been to Finland, I've been to Sweden, I've been to the Americas, I've been to France, and I've been to Belgium recently. And it's some of the top institutions that I visited, I'm actually learning how can we make CPUT the best? And we are well on our way to making this indeed a smart university. But that smart university will not be realized if we are not learning from the best and bringing and contextualizing those lessons that we have learned. We have a dream of being an MIT of Africa. I must actually tell you that this is an old dream that the founding fathers of the institution have been having. Recently, when I was in Belgium at the Erasmus University, I was talking to one of the professors there, and he was actually saying, but how did you make it possible that you can actually work with MIT? How did you find a way in there? Because it's not easy. And all that we are saying, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to make sure that we knock at every door, we turn every stone, and we call upon every shoulder to the wheel to turn this institution into the MIT of Africa. I said to some of the professors recently that if you talk about some of our best institutions that I will not name, you have to multiply that by 100 just to understand the scale of MIT. What you said is your best in the country, multiply that by 100. That gives you a picture. This MIT that I'm talking about, in the buffet of institutions or basket of institutions that I visited, is actually having 101 Nobel laureates. Nobel laureates in chemistry, in physics, they're just there. In economics, they're there. 61 national medals of science, 33 national medals of technology and innovation, and a number of spin-off companies. And when I was talking to one of the colleagues there, he said, I quote, MIT people want to know how things work, and are inspired to make them work better. Our mind and hand, remember their motto is mens et manus. Our mind and hands philosophy spare real world engagement, and thanks to MIT entrepreneurial culture, because Greater Boston innovation ecosystem brims with company spun out of MIT. And I've been calling the same here to say, let's make sure that CPUT's impact, whether you're talking about Wellington, whether you're talking about here, Belleville South, whether you're talking about District 6, the presence of CPUT must count for something in that particular community. We must actually contribute to the local economic development and for the betterment of the society that we find ourselves. Because when you go to MIT and you are in that area, Cambridge, the companies that you are seeing there, they actually spun from MIT. Some of the big companies, they're having their headquarters right in the campus. If you talk about Google, is there, right within the campus. That's why it is always number one across any ranking. And I'm saying we wanted to make sure that this partnership that you're having is a special partnership. It's a partnership that you are not learning the best practices, but the leading practices. And we have actually made sure that our staff and students can have the opportunity to visit MIT. Professor Iswamer has just been there. We were there earlier to go and actually learn about AI in education. At this institution, because we are a smart university, we are not threatened by AI. We are embracing AI. We are embracing ChatGPT because we should be able to teach our students about the best technologies that are available. We don't run away from the best technologies as a University of Technology. If there is any technology, we must try it as a PUT to make sure that we can actually tell whether it will actually improve our efficiencies. We are also trying as an institution to inculcate in our students the graduate attributes. And these are some of the attributes that you should know, that we are saying as a University of Technology. One, you must be technologically astute. So technological capability and foresight is something that we wanted to be part and parcel of your DNA. Resilience and problem-solving capability is something that must be part of your DNA. Relational capability must be part and parcel of our DNA. I wanted to pause a bit when we talk about relational capabilities. We wanted to produce graduates that can relate. Being able to relate with the people. Because at the heart of everything that we are doing is Ubuntu. We don't want graduates who will go to community they cannot relate. So relational capability is very important. And the fourth one, we wanted to make sure that there is ethical capability. We are actually spending time on this. That's why we developed what's called the ethical framework of an institution. So as an institution, we are placing premium on ethics. We always say, no ethics, no research at the CPUT. Everything, even business, we only engage with those that are ethical. We don't cut corners. When people are coming with all these things that, no, you can do this, we don't want to engage. We wanted to build an ethical and capable state in South Africa. We cannot build an ethical and capable developmental state if we don't actually impress on the aspect of ethics and morality. So in my little notes here, I'm saying CPUT graduates will have an orientation to the well-being and improvement of society, rather than just ensuring their own well-being and advancement. It will involve hearing and acknowledging the concern of others, as morality forms a cornerstone against which ethical decisions are made in practice. CPUT will enforce ethical behavior in and outside the classroom, may it be contact tuition or in virtual platform, an underpinning ability for ethical capability. We believe that our students should worry about or should have an orientation or posture that is actually towards public good, knowledge field specific professional ethics. I've talked about relational capability, as well as an ethical ability, an ability to discern whether professional practices are within ethical boundaries, an ability to take ethical decisions even when faced with ethical dilemmas, when it's about yourself or about the institution. And when it's about yourself, it's much more favorable than when it's about the institution. That's ethical dilemma. And you should be able to make ethical decisions. At least we'll say we have achieved something as an institution. We should be able to conduct ethical research. We should have an ability to act on unethical practices. I'm talking about things beyond turn it in, plagiarism, safe assign that we have actually learned. I'm talking about something beyond that. We are saying, even when we embrace ChatGPT, but we must actually look at the ethics side of things. Because technology without ethics can be problematic. Otherwise, you can actually ask ChatGPT to write the assignment for you, to write a good assignment for you, get 10 out of 10. So we are saying you should be able to make a decision even when faced with ethical dilemma. Remembering that, colleagues, we are in this together. In fact, I am always moved by one particular quote of Steve Jobs. Every time when I read about this particular person's quote that he made just a couple of months before he died, I said to myself, this confirms what I've always said and what people like Oriana Fallaci said, that there are always three perspectives. It's your perspective, it's my perspective, and it's the right perspective. There are always three. You can actually say, no, I don't agree with the Vice-Chancellor. Yes, you may not agree with me, because I may be wrong. But there is always the right perspective. And the right perspective may not necessarily be popular, even among your peers. But we wanted to build a community that is actually buttressed by the right perspective. Because that's how we're made up as human beings. That I may say, no, I don't agree with you, but when I'm alone, because human beings are made pure, when you're alone and you look yourself in them, you say, but yes, I disagree with him. Maybe I don't like him, but that's the truth. Steve Jobs said, I quote, "Remembering that I will be dead soon is the most important tool I have ever encountered to help me make big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fears of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important," close quote. That's how pure we are as human beings. Program Director, Professor Isaac van Zyl, it is a time that we have to celebrate all our amazing memories that we have with our postgraduate students, and not only wait when they are graduating. So I have got some advice and words of wisdom to this community. And the first one is about excellence. Sometimes as an institution, you always hear people say, but I want Senex to deal with this issue of 47. I got 47. I only want 3% to get 50%. And then 50%, you are stuck there, you cannot do postgraduate. And postgraduate, you say, no, but can't you now RPL me and all those things, appeal after appeal. We have to embrace excellence. We have to make excellence fashionable. You have to aspire to get 75 as distinction, 80 as a distinction. And that you can only do if you love what you do. We are told that excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but we have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but habit. So these are the tiny changes that we can actually make ourselves. It may be hard at the beginning, but let's try to embrace change, a change towards excellence. You start with small step. And with time, after 66 days, you have wired this good behavior of being excellent. To wire a behavior takes about 2 months. If you repeatedly do that, you can actually have that. But it's not easy, because you can always fall back to the old practice. As I always say in some of the platform, any change is hard at the beginning, is messy in the middle, and is gorgeous at the end. Any change is following what you call a sigmoidal curve. Those students who are in chemistry and physics, you know an S-curve. The curve, it starts like this, it moves up and it levels off. But many a time, a lot of things happen here at a point of influx, because that's where people, even if we are about to wire that particular change, people are saying, this is steep. And sometimes you are almost about to reach the plateau and you give up. So it's very important that we have to tell our people that any change is hard at the beginning, is messy in the middle, and is gorgeous at the end. In South Sotho, they say, even the rain that we are looking for, ke mahlopha a senya. You have that entropy, but you can actually build enthalpy out of it. So well done to all of you who are registered for postgraduate studies at CPUT. We know that it's not easy, it's difficult, but as an institution and the Office of the Vice-Chancellor, we are with you all the way. As Epictetus will say, capabilities confirm and grows in its corresponding actions, walking by walking, running by running, publishing by publishing. Therefore, if you want to do something, make a habit of it. Because in the space that you and I are, it matters when we wake up, when we go to bed, what we study and practice, and how many master's and doctoral students we register, who supervises you, who is your teacher, who are you doing a postdoc with? It's very important. Program Director, I will not say much about CPGS, save to say that the Center for Postgraduate Studies was established in 2009 to coordinate master's and doctoral studies at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. And we were the very first institution that separated postgraduate studies from the normal research and development office, because we said we wanted this entity to be a home for all postgraduate students across the university. And we know that the center facilitates a number of activities and also connect faculties and students. And it's also assisting in terms of mentoring and guiding postgraduate students and supervisors to ensure that standards are adhered to. It's also enhanced research skills for postgraduate students. It's also offering advice and support for students, and many other policy issues. In conclusion, we know that creativity and critical thinking are fundamental to our future and to strengthen democracies. So it's very important that we have to inculcate to support South Africa as a young democracy. We also know that computers have not yet been able to do this for us, even with your AI for that matter. We exist in a world and at a time where we need to see our work and our research as a form of activism, not only as contributing to scholarship and deepening knowledge. So those are the issues around epistemological transformation that I wanted you to champion. We should use our work to advocate for a world where we build bridges instead of walls. For example, we can see that there is a growing anti-science across the world, and we are looking at nobody but yourself to be able to deal with those vestiges of anti-science. There are people who are saying, when you talk about climate change, you're actually lying. But you and I, we have seen in the past 3 days how things were. We have seen what happened in KwaZulu-Natal and other areas, and across the globe. But there are people who are saying, no, some of those things, beguy'inkanyamba. Some will say, no, beguy'inkanyamba. When we see the building being destroyed and all those things, unfortunately, here in the Western Cape, we are actually living in a Mediterranean climate. And that is an area that is actually getting hotter, 20% more than the global average. So we are in big trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, let us keep on creating futures as per our motto. And as I always say, Anna Akhmatova will always say, as the future ripened the past, so the past wrought in the future. Even though the future seems to be far away, I can tell you now, it's beginning right now. Thank you very much. Enkosi mawethu ndiyabulela kakhulu. Makube kuhle, kube mhlophe. Enkosi. Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly, Prof. Nchlapu, for those inspiring words. VC, you spoke about celebration, you spoke about excellence, and I'm happy to say that we have an example of excellence here to celebrate today, and she's Dr. Yvonne Maposa, who will be giving an inspiring message to you. She has been with CPUT since 2010 when she started her diploma with us, so that's longer than most of us, including myself. And she has received the VC's medal for her BTech studies, and she's also received the Vice-Chancellor's prestigious Achievers Award, which enabled her to pursue her doctoral studies here with us, which she concluded, I think, in 2022. And then I remember receiving an email around when I started as director. It was around July 2022. I received an email from the VC addressed to me and Prof. Berger, telling me about this recent graduate and asking, how can we nurture our own timber? How can we embrace someone that has gone through the whole journey with us? And then I was happy to have been a part of helping to facilitate the postdoctoral fellowship for Dr. Maposa. So in October 2022, she started as a postdoctoral fellow with us. And she's an example of excellence and someone to celebrate. And I hope that she can give us some inspiring words as well. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I forgot to take off my spec. It's an honor to stand before you today. My name is Yvonne Maposa. I'm a postdoctoral fellow in the Department of Food Science and Technology here at CPUT. So instead of motivating you today, I just want to take you just briefly down my academic journey and the lessons I've learned along the way. So when I first registered at CPUT, my goal was quite straightforward. Get a diploma, graduate, go out there and get a job. Little did I know that CPUT has this incredible way of drawing you in and making you feel at home, and you just want to leave. So this place is quite addictive. You find yourself registering, graduating, until one day you have a PhD and a staff number. So I started my diploma, but then I thought, why not do BTech? It's just one more year. And so my long walk to freedom began. For BTech, I was the best graduating student in the Faculty of Applied Sciences, and I was awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Medal. And I thought, you know what, school is not so bad. I love it. I love this. I can do this. I can do masters. It's just 2 more years. So I registered again, and I got my master's in 18 months. Then I could have been done then, but it just felt like stopping a car in the middle of the road. It felt like just putting a full stop in the middle of a sentence. I just had to go all the way. So I registered for my PhD right here at CPUT. I won't lie to you, like it just felt like it had been smoothly going all along, but PhD showed me flames. Never in my life have I struggled with school so much. Like Murphy's Law came into full play, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. First, I had to change topics. My supervisor, so we had to change topics after months and months. So all the work I had put in down the drain, back to 0. Then I struggled with lab work on my new research. I would spend a month running an experiment every day in the lab, taking samples. End of month, inconclusive results. Back to the drawing board. So after months of not getting any data that made sense and no sign of a prototype in sight, I started understanding what most PhD students soon realize, why what I was doing had never been done before. Then finally, after many breakdowns in my supervisor's office, I made progress and I could finally see the light. But it was so slow and so hard, it felt like, okay, I'll never get this PhD. That's when I understood why only 1% of people in the world have a PhD. I would vent to anyone who cared to listen, but giving up was not an option. Then after what seemed like forever, I finished my lab work, and things were looking up, I was happy. Then COVID happened. But I had to keep going. Actually, lockdown for me was a blessing in disguise. Finally, I could sit in my room, sit in one place, and focus without any distractions. So I went full swing on, putting my thesis together. But then my co-supervisor had retired, and getting feedback from him was painfully slow. So I mastered patience. I mastered resilience against my own will. Then one day, I was finally done and ready to submit my thesis for examination. So it was sent out, and I was excited. Finally, I was getting the PhD. But then Murphy's Law struck again. So one of the examiners pulled out 2 months in, and another examiner had to be appointed from scratch. So I missed graduation that year. It was stressful, but all things work out eventually. So I finally graduated in April 2022 with a doctorate in food science and technology. And it was by far the best day of my life. It was nothing like anything I've ever felt before. You saw those videos of people who dance on stage. If I wasn't shy, I would have danced on stage that day. That's how happy I was. I just felt so fulfilled. So during my postgraduate journey, I learned a lot about myself, about research, and about life in general. And I would like to share some of the lessons with you. 1, balance is key. As you embark on your postgraduate journey, you'll soon find that research can quickly take over your life. Before long, you won't be able to think of anything else. Even when you're sitting alone, you're thinking just about your research, what needs to be done, how much needs to be done, and everything. Then everything that doesn't concern your research might start feeling like a waste of time. So it's very easy to get caught up in your research bubble. So you need to pull yourself out, because when you graduate, you need to still be healthy mentally, physically. You need to be holistic. So there's no formula, so you have to find what works for you. engage in other activities, explore hobbies, talk to people. As they say, go and touch grass. Like, you need to be healthy mentally and physically. So you have to find a healthy distraction. Keyword healthy. Don't self-destruct. We need you healthy on your graduation day. 2, sanity is relative. You might go mad a little during your postgraduate journey. You know, talking to yourself every now and then, randomly punching the air when you have that eureka moment, stopping in the middle of a conversation because you just wondered if you switched off the lights in the lab. And so you have a lot of many mad-looking moments, and you soon realize there's a thin line between sanity and insanity. Even the way you label your documents is going to stop being normal after a while. By the time you submit, you have final, RR10, final. So, yeah. 3, good things take time. Pursuing a postgraduate degree gives you a proper understanding of that saying. It can take a long time to get to the good part. So you may start feeling left behind by your peers, because by the time you're doing PhD, maybe people you did BTech with are in industry and their lives seem to be progressing. So you might feel left behind and wondering if furthering your studies was a good idea. So it's easy to feel stuck. You might even start feeling like you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, because why are you not figuring this out? Especially around graduation season. I used to avoid walking this way during graduation because everyone is graduating, like, when am I graduating? So you might even feel like quitting. So a lot of people threaten to quit, but thankfully, most never really do. So when those thoughts come to you, please don't let them win. Please remember why you started in the first place. Realize how much time and effort you have invested into this. You are in the right place. You deserve to be right here, and you are more than capable. It might not feel like it sometimes, but I can tell you for a fact it gets better, and you will dance on graduation, whether in your head or on stage, but it will be worth it. It will definitely be worth it. Number 4, no man is an island. So there's no shame in asking for help. You need to be able to ask for help and to allow yourself to receive the help. So no one knows everything, and we all need one another. So there's a saying in my home language, isiNdebele, that says, "Umntwana ongakhaliyo ufele embelekweni." It means, it loosely translates to a child that doesn't cry dies on his mother's back, which means if you don't speak up about your needs, people will think you're fine. So if you come to the lab, you have problems, you're not talking to anyone, we assume you're fine, you know what you're doing. So you have to speak up, ask for help. It will save you so much time, so much energy. 5, get a mentor. If possible, find yourself a mentor. We have another saying, isiNdebeleni, which says, "Indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili." It means those who have gone before us are the ones who can show the path. So turn to those who have walked this journey before you. They will guide you. A good mentor is like a free therapist. You know, therapy is expensive, so they will let you vent and still help you and give you practical solutions for free. So it's important to have someone to talk to, someone who understands the challenges of postgraduate study, someone who knows exactly what you're going through. 6, run your own race. You need to be proud of what you're doing. Your work is exceptional, even if it doesn't sound like it to other people. Don't feel like other people have more groundbreaking work than you, because there's always someone with a topic, like when they're done telling you their topic, you're like, what am I doing? Because someone else's work always feels better than yours, but you need to not compare yourself. Run your own race and focus on your own goals. 7, any progress is progress. So unlike in undergrad, we knew when you're graduating, we have a timetable for exams. Here you will finish when you finish. Well, just try not to take 20 years, but you will finish when you finish. So on a bad day, if you manage to even write one sentence, then well done, tomorrow will be better. You write a paragraph tomorrow. You just have to keep going. So every step you take no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your goal. So next time someone asks you, when are you graduating? Just say, when I graduate, and quickly change the subject. Well, unless the person asking is your supervisor or your sponsor, then you have to answer the question. 8, enjoy the journey. I think most of us focus so much on graduation that you forget to experience the journey. You need to go through it. Remember, you're the future mentor, you're the future supervisor. Go through it. Like the bad, the good, the ugly, go through all of it, experience it. It's all part of your story. Then appreciate res. I don't know how many of you live at res, but I miss res. Because in the real world, we pay for Wi-Fi, you pay for electricity, you pay for what? Things you never think about it at res. So if you live at res, consider yourself privileged. Last, don't ask other people when you're graduating. So as much as you don't want to be asked that question, also don't ask people. Talk about football, the weather, anything else. Don't ask people when they're graduating. It's very triggering. So last but not least, I would like to remind you to enjoy the experience and make the most of it. I wish each and every one of you the very best on your journey. When you graduate, it will be awesome. It will be worth it. We'll be there cheering you on. And you'll be very proud of yourself knowing you achieved something truly significant. So keep going and back up your work every time. Please, you know how laptops love crashing before a deadline. Thank you so much for your time. That's all I have to say today.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Maposa. I think that was a wonderful example of excellence, and wow, I'm very inspired by you, and I hope you will remain with CPUT for a long time. So I would like to open the floor for some questions and comments from the audience. Before I do that, I'd just quickly like to introduce the Center for Postgraduate Studies staff who are here. If you can, I'm going to embarrass you now, so if you can just stand up quickly and wave. So firstly, Dr. Mshlongo, who's our coordinator, there she is, and then Mr. Malopa, who